My name is Charlotte, I'm 36 years old, the owner of a high-end cosmetic store, and I've been married to James for 10 years. Although I've built a stable life and a successful career, I never expected my marriage to fall apart so suddenly. One day, while working at the store, I received a message from James, and at the same time, he withdrew all the money from our joint account. For the first time in my life, at the age of 36, I received the most ruthless goodbye from James. A part of me couldn't believe what was happening, but the other part stayed strangely calm. After 10 years of marriage, I never imagined that one day I would receive such an ending. He probably thought I would cry and beg him for forgiveness for his betrayal. But no, I wouldn't let myself be weak. Meanwhile, I'm helping a customer at the store, I thought. I definitely can't let everything fall apart right now. I kept working, selecting products for a middle-aged customer who was in need. My eyes narrowed slightly, but I tried not to let her notice anything unusual. Everything seemed normal, even though inside, it felt like a storm was raging. My hands didn't shake as I wrapped the items for her in the store's signature silver foil paper. I just waited until she left, when no one could see me, then I would respond to that message. Just then, my phone buzzed again. A new message from James: "No need to make a big deal, I'll move my stuff later. Keep the house, I won't fight for it." A part of me was angry, wanting to curse and scream, but I just smiled wryly. He probably thinks he's won, doesn't he? I muttered to myself. This isn't the time to cry. I knew I had to think carefully. Today, I would not act rashly. I'd been planning this for a long time, it was just that I hadn't had the opportunity to execute it yet. In response to James's message, I simply wrote, "Good luck with your decision." Short, simple, and decisive. He surely wouldn't think I had prepared for everything. When I returned to my work, no one could tell what was boiling inside me. But I knew one thing for sure, James would never see my next move coming. However, James didn't know that I had noticed the first signs. I realized something was different when James started changing his phone and personal account passwords, things he always left open before. A few times, I deliberately paid attention and saw him quickly entering the PIN when holding his phone, as if he was hiding something. Moreover, James, who was never interested in his appearance, suddenly began spending hours at the gym, buying expensive designer clothes and watches I had never seen before. He started changing abruptly, likely to impress someone. But who? Then, one afternoon while I was cleaning the house, I happened to see a receipt from a luxury store I had never heard of. The receipt was for a dinner for two, with a person I didn't know. That's when my anger began to rise. I didn't want to act hastily without clear evidence. I noticed transfers of money without notifying me, payments I was unaware of. Immediately, I decided to open a separate bank account, set a difficult password, and transfer all of my savings into it. I couldn't trust James anymore, and I couldn't let him easily take what I had built over my life. No, I won't let myself be betrayed again, I thought. That was when I knew he had changed. I had already formed a revenge plan in my head, and I couldn't hesitate any longer. James would never think I had prepared for everything. When James sent the divorce message, I already had a plan. I knew I had to act. But I also knew that to win, I needed to stay calm and not let emotions take over. I had seen the deceit in his actions, and I wouldn't let him get away with it easily. First, I couldn't sit idly by while he continued to deceive me. I decided to report the fraudulent transactions I had found in our joint bank account. Unusual amounts, transactions I had no knowledge of. I saved all the evidence. Finally, I decided to cancel our joint credit card. He would no longer have the opportunity to withdraw money from my account. This is war, and I'm not going to lose, I told myself as I dialed the credit card company. Hello, I need to report fraud and cancel my credit card immediately, I said with determination. I felt a surge of power as I heard the confirmation from the representative. But I didn't stop there. I began collecting every piece of evidence I could, James's messages and the bank transactions I had discovered. Each message, every luxury shopping receipt he tried to hide became a weapon in my hands. I couldn't let him easily deny everything. I needed to make sure everything was set up solidly, because I knew James wouldn't give up easily. I took screenshots of his messages, his taunts, his arrogant remarks about how he had freed both of us. I knew he was waiting for my reaction, but I didn't want to give him what he wanted. Instead, I immediately called my lawyer. Hello, I need to prepare divorce proceedings immediately. All the evidence is ready, and I want to proceed as soon as possible, I said firmly, without hesitation. My lawyer agreed immediately and confirmed that the paperwork would be prepared. I hung up the phone and looked at the evidence I had gathered. I'm ready. James won't escape what he's done. I no longer sat waiting. I didn't need to argue, I didn't need to cry. I just needed to prove that, in the end, the betrayer would face the consequences of his actions. That day, I entered the courtroom with confidence. James had always looked down on me, thinking I was just a weak wife, easily manipulated. But today, he would face the truth. Your Honor, I would like to present important evidence, I began, speaking calmly but with weight. The entire courtroom went silent, listening intently. My lawyer stood beside me, firmly holding the case files, ready to protect my rights. I presented the evidence I had carefully gathered, receipts, messages from James admitting to using our joint credit card for luxury items without my consent, and the unusual bank transactions he had made over time. This is irrefutable evidence of the defendant's financial fraud, I said, never taking my eyes off James. He sat there, his face tense, clearly trying to find a way to escape his actions. But there was no room for lies anymore. The defendant used the joint credit card to pay for personal trips and shopping without informing the plaintiff. Furthermore, the defendant intentionally withdrew money from the joint account without the plaintiff's consent, causing significant financial harm to the plaintiff, my lawyer continued, unfazed. James began to show signs of tension, but he still tried to speak, his voice full of confusion. I just want to start over, it's not that complicated. She's always controlled everything, I just need a little freedom. But no one in the room was fooled. I knew I had prepared thoroughly and had every reason to request a decision in my favor. The court soon ruled. The court orders the defendant to return all the money withdrawn from the joint account. Additionally, the court confirms that the plaintiff's separate assets, including the house and the cosmetic store, are not related to this case and are not subject to the defendant's claim. The courtroom fell silent in shock. James could only sit there, his face flushed, powerless. The look of disappointment in his eyes gave me a sense of satisfaction. I was right not to doubt my preparation. The defendant is responsible for his financial fraud and must face the legal consequences, the judge declared, which gave me a sense of relief. James, the man I had spent 12 years loving, was now facing the consequences of his own actions. When the court adjourned, I felt no regret. On the contrary, I felt proud for not allowing myself to be defeated by betrayal. The feeling of victory flooded through me. James thought he could easily leave me, but he didn't know that in this game, I was the winner. After the trial, I felt an unusual sense of relief. Though I had lost a part of myself in that marriage, I was free now. I didn't let myself fall but saw a new opportunity ahead. I looked at my cosmetic store and knew it was time to start fresh. I decided to expand the business, invest in higher quality products, and create amazing experiences for my customers. I won't let those years hold me back. I deserve success, I thought. Right when I expanded the store, my revenue soared. Customers came not only for the products but for the feeling of being supported by a strong woman, one who had risen from pain and was now thriving. Meanwhile, James was facing one failure after another. He had no place in the company after being disciplined for his irresponsible actions. He was no longer the man he had painted himself to be. His job was no longer stable, and he didn't even get the promotion he had once thought was certain. One morning, I heard from an old friend of James's. He's living with his family, trying to rebuild his life, but he walks around the house like a ghost. He doesn't know what to do anymore. Emma, James's new girlfriend, couldn't handle the truth either. After a few months of living with him, she finally realized that everything he said was just lies. One evening, I received a message from a friend. She's left James, can't live with a man who has no responsibility. I felt no regret, and part of me even felt joy. He had deceived not just me but others as well, and now he was facing the consequences of his choices. His family also gradually abandoned him. His mother called me again, her voice weak. "Charlotte, we can no longer support our son." After learning everything, we realized that our biggest mistake was not seeing the truth sooner. Her voice was filled with disappointment, but I felt no regret. In the end, James had pushed himself into a dark corner, and I, Charlotte, had stepped into the light. This story emphasizes the importance of keeping separate assets and managing finances carefully in marriage. Please share your feelings in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.